Well, hey everybody, this is Don from the Wizard. From Jesus Christ, I'm starting this off with a bang. The vlog of many things.
A vlog? A vlog?
That's
A
right, not
Renegade
Wizard
blog.
Tower Games. It's vlog of many things. Oh, we shall start roughly today, as they say. At least the frickin' thing is going
Worked?
smooth tonight. Yeah, it worked.
Well,
But
so far so good. Let's
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
Matt, how you doing? 2 weeks, yes, sir. 2 weeks from the day. That's right. Monday we go and we kind of finalize all the bits and pieces with the venue and do the final walkthrough. And they have the plans for the tables set up, so we got all that good stuff. So that's good.
nice.
Yep, 2 weeks until Dan Tesh drives 3.5 hours of WizardCon. Hope your drive is a good one. Yep, party's starting to go in live. Yeah, Florida's too far to drive. You have to fly up here. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Robert, how you doing? Yes, we are live, Mark the Shark. A little bit of a rough start, but we're there. So, I want to talk a little bit about freedom of speech in gaming. Kind of an interesting topic, I think, in gaming. That's something we don't really talk about a lot in gaming, but I think comes up off and on in gaming quite a bit. We're going to be talking about some things we're not getting in really detail tonight because of the fact that it's done and over with. But Eric, you just had a lawsuit against you, basically thrown out by Ken Whitman. So that's that. And we've had people like in the gaming sphere, like Zach Smith has filed several lawsuits against other creators, have won.
Mhm.
And I think that really impacts free speech. I think that impacts people when, we have individuals who are so litigious, and even if a lawsuit does not go all the way through, it still has an impact on free
Right.
speech. And we got a very busy chat here tonight, so if I don't get to everybody, my apologies in the very beginning. Excuse
Very
me.
yappity. Oh my goodness.
Um, Thank you very much for liking both streams. Death Angel Shadow, how you doing tonight? Scott Mulder, how you doing tonight? Yes, in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks from today, we will be at WizardCon gaming, and me and my wife will be stressing and making Scott Mulder stress and all of that.
Gonna be a
So
lot of puppies at WizardCon.
yes, there will be. We got Jim Kitchen will be running the auction. I got to get with Jim Kitchen this week and go over what we have to auction. So
I think Jim is bringing his puppy.
yes. So basically, what is free speech in gaming? I mean, do we all can, you've switched your tenor several months ago, Eric. You've went from gaming news to more gaming help.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a number of reasons for that.
Yeah, what is the reason for that? Because you
And
did
I'm not
you
the
did
only. I did it without. I see bigger channels have done the pivot. Even channels like Dungeon Craft have turned
yes,
pivoted away from carrying current events in gaming. And here's
and that's Professor DM's channel,
yes,
correct?
yep.
Okay.
And actually a few of the other uh, more 5e gaming channels have turned away from reporting on 5e to talking about the actual rules or material for 5e. And um,
We'll
one
do, Scott.
important one important reason is when you're talking about, like, I talk about BX procedures, OSR gaming, stuff like that. That's timeless, right? That's not time sensitive. If I talk about an event in current gaming, well, it's new for 48 hours, whatever the news
Yeah,
cycle is, and then
it's stuck on the radar.
right. So with the pivot, I have videos that keep on getting views months later, which is a beautiful thing.
Well, also there's also another problem here when you report on gaming news
Hmm.
like you used to, is that, let's face it, there's only so much gaming news out
Right,
there.
right, and it's not like you're manufacturing it, but you start digging deeper, and you get a little bit more obscure with what you're digging up, and let's face, you cover that stuff. Some people get offended if they are part of the topic that you might be uh, covering.
Well,
If it is not necessarily showing them in a great light.
also there's the thing about, and Ken Whitman is a good example. Is Ken, and I'll say this that way I'm the brunt of Ken's ire, and you can stay quiet if you want. Basically, what happened was this: is Ken Whitman got offended at some of Eric's comments on a video, gave him a 10-day takedown. When Eric did not comply, Ken filed a lawsuit in Kentucky. Well, Eric, with a little bit of help, went ahead and got that case dismissed. The judge agreed with Eric that that case was basically a no bueno. It was wrong venue. So Ken basically got butt hurt, but Ken's living with his butt hurt. And the thing is that's the problem that vloggers these days have is with technology now, people can sue easily. And it doesn't matter whether they have a good case or not.
Right.
It matters if that judge just happens to so agree with you and you happen to have a judge in Kentucky that agreed with you. But in all fairness, you could have had a judge in Kentucky that said, no, this is the proper venue. And if that would have been the case, it would have been a thing that you would have cost you money. And I think that's the thing with people learn. Because I saw Zach Smith the other day, a person posted a thing about Zach Smith, and they said they were making basically a public retraction,
Right.
an apology to Zach Smith. And Zach Smith couldn't keep quiet because Zach Smith has to gloat. So Zach Smith went into the comments and basically said, well, yes, because a few people are going, why are you posting this? And Zach Smith says, well, look up the case. And Zach Smith basically said was, you'll see that I'm very good at, filing paper or something to the effect of that. And, what is the effect on free speech for gaming that has? I really think that it has a negative effect on free speech for gaming.
Well, it does. I mean, and I think New York State calls it, 'cause New York State has anti-slap laws,
Yes.
but and New York State has those laws because it's the strategic use of uh, libel and slander laws to silence discussion.
That's right.
So New York State is the state that if you sue somebody for such in New York State, the civil suits are the preponderance of the evidence. Well, it's a bit, you need a little bit more preponderance of the evidence to successfully sue for such in New York State. And if your suit is not successful, the person that you sued, well, you owe them their legal fees.
Well, to clarify this, as an example, and I use me. Let's say I got mad at Eric and I said, you know what, Eric said this shit about me online, and I really get pissed off at Eric. And I file a slander and libel or whatever lawsuit against Eric. And it doesn't have to be slander and libel. Keep in mind, it can be any of these slander libel statutes that are involved. If I sue Eric,
Mhm.
Eric can, under the slap laws, go, hey, judge, this lawsuit is frivolous. They are doing it to silence, whatever, under a myriad of ways. This lawsuit is wrong. We use that really broad language, verbal language. So the judge can then go ahead and say, Eric, we agree with you. Don is suing you, Eric, for the wrong things. So this is what we're going to go ahead and do under the slap lawsuits. Is under the slap statute, I'm going to award you, Eric, not only am I dismissing this case, I'm going to award you costs, attorney fees, and damages. And this is the thing about damages when it comes to court. And this is something anybody out there thinking about suing somebody for liable in a slap state like Eric's. You need to be really careful because damages is the key word. Damages is whatever the judge's dick gets hard enough to sit there and think it is. So you may have a very limp judge out there who goes, you know what, Eric, your damages are $50. But you could say a judge who is very pro free speech that goes, you know what, You're going to get your attorney fees and your damages, Don, against Eric. I'm going to make you pay him 50 grand.
Yeah,
So your state Michigan does not have slap laws, but Michigan has a different law that is really beautiful in case people like Whitman decide to sue. Number one, the reason why Whitman hasn't sued me is because Whitman knows I have an attorney. That's number one. Number two, the reason why Whitman hasn't sued me, he probably hasn't done it, just in case he's watching. Michigan has the ability that Whitman sues me in Michigan, you go for it. Because guess what I'm going to do? My attorney, who's a real barred attorney in the state of Michigan, is going to go ahead and make a motion for you to have to come to Michigan for all hearings. And that's just a flat thing that you have to watch out for. So filing lawsuits against creators is a very dangerous thing. First of all, especially for creators who are in SLAP states. Because for those who know what SLAP is like, I forget the acronym, Eric.
strategic litigation against, I forget.
Plaintiffs, blah, blah, blah. It's two P's. And it basically, what it means is, it means that when you sue somebody in a SLAP state, they can come back to you. And if they get the case dismissed, like Eric got in Kentucky, then what can happen is that judge can go ahead and nail you with attorney fees, damages, costs, and it can be extremely expensive depending on the type of judge you have.
By the way, it stands for strategic lawsuits against public participation.
And what this is this has been a thing in states that have basically said we are sick and tired of frivolous lawsuits. The First Amendment stands in our state. New York is a very pro First Amendment state. Michigan is a pro First Amendment state, but the first step that we've taken is out of state lawsuit filers have to come to Michigan. And so that's the first thing, because I don't think people want to drive from Kentucky to Battle Creek, Michigan for every single hearing, or get a hotel for the period of their lawsuit while their lawsuit's going. But real quick, let's see here. Halfling says, no, but you could say 5e Dungeon sucks and get in trouble for slander. Well, not really, because you're offering an opinion. See, there's the thing. The opinion about a product is different. I can say Eric Tenkar's vlog sucks. Eric can say vlogging many things sucks. That's not litigious. That's not, you can't litigate against that. There are still real strong laws against public opinion and such, and all that kind of flies into this. Those projects says, my new TTRPG Slap State coming soon. That's right, Slap State. You can sue, and so can you can sue. I got a question. Can I be TSR Hobbies when I find my lawsuit? I just really want to know, because I want to play that character. Mark the Shark says, okay, I don't care to learn about people's names, so I should be safe. Exactly. Strategic lawsuit against, yep, exactly. Thanks, Dan. And then Scott Mulder says, Tenkar, would you send me a development copy of my new colony crawl? I'll be in alpha testing at WizardCon.
Sure, I'll give it a look. I can't guarantee you I'll give a huge look before WizardCon. I got to prep my games for WizardCon.
Yep. Halfling Torchbearer says strategic lawsuit. Yep. Thank you very much.
Yep.
And then Halfling Torchbearer, if you're saying the 5e designer sucks, that's a statement against person direct. I don't think so. I think the thing is when you become in the public spectrum, and see, this is the big kicker with it. There's another part of libel and slander lawsuits of, is the person in the public setting? And I think that, and I'm not saying with your case, but one of my defenses against Whitman would be, Whitman is in the public spectrum. Whitman is a self-proclaimed game designer, self-proclaimed movie producer, self-proclaimed game designer, publisher. He is all over the place online with public websites offering his public services and professional services. And that's the other thing when you get into things like this, is when you're filing against somebody, you're really pushing on some really dangerous things because is that person in the public arena? So, um, so if someone sued me as an example, they could argue Don is a publisher with Wizard Tower Games. He's an author. He has all these public things. So he has no right to privacy when it comes to opinion. So I can say Don's books suck. And I can say Don's games suck. And they are 100% right. I can't go after you for offering critique against my so and so product.
Right, and you can even probably say Don sucks. That's still an
Yes,
opinion. But if you say Don is
a pedophile.
whatever,
A pedophile.
whatever, somebody who violates a certain law, that is no longer opinion. Now you are conflating a supposed fact.
Yes.
and
Yes.
by
And
the way, for New York State, the anti-SLAPP law of 2020 protects individuals from meritless lawsuits intended to silence free speech on public interest issues, and that covers any communication, online, traditional media, if it issues of public interest, construed broadly, by the way, not
yes.
narrowly. So, if in doubt, it's considered
Well,
public interest.
and see, that's the thing. That's the dangerous term there in that legal opinion.
Mm.
If inferred broadly. And see, when you hear things like that, it's very easy to overlook that if you're mad and you're looking to file and do a reason. And it's sort of like when my attorney told me about a week ago, because she looked up Eric's case and she kind of looked at the judge's opinion and everything. And the judge's opinion, by the way, in Eric's case was very, very brief. It wasn't very, very long at all. It wasn't like a 20-page opinion, nothing unimportant. But like she told me, she said, this is the thing that people don't understand is that, when you get mad, you get tunnel vision. And you get online, you start looking at laws, and when you start going to like places like AI for legal opinion, AI does not know the law. AI broadly knows the law. And so what happens is these people, and I'm not pointing out anybody specifically, but what happens is people get mad online and they start to look up laws. They don't look at the laws like an attorney does. An attorney looks very neutrally. If I contacted my attorney and said, that fucker 10 car went ahead and said this about me and I want to sue him, my attorney's going to look at the law differently than I would. I'm looking at the law. I'm mad at 10 car. I'm going after 10 car or Steve, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bankrupt them and I'm going to get that fucker. Whereas my lawyer looks at it as, shut up, Don. Shut the fuck up. Let me take a look at this. And she looks at it very narrowly, very, very cleanly, very, very neutrally. And then she comes back and says, you may be mad, but you haven't got a case. Or she may look at me and say, you may be mad, but you got a case, but it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Right. It's not feasible.
Feasibility, exactly. And I may say, well, I'm going to sue him on my own. And she may look at it and go, are you sure that you want to dally with libel and slander law on your own? Do you know how many nuances are in that? And then you get the danger of, is the person you're suing representing themselves, but they have secretly an attorney in another city helping them with their stuff. And when that happens, then you run into a problem because that person has legal representation, although indirect, and you are just running on ass and anger.
Well, and the thing is, too, if you're talking about AI is a great tool. Don't get me wrong. I subscribe to ChatGPT and I pay for Gemini. They're great tools, but they are tools. And if you don't tell AI certain ground rules, AI wants you to be happy.
Yes,
Okay?
AI wants you to be
AI
happy.
wants you to be happy because that means you'll come back and use it more. And you'll tell your friends, oh, this is great. You should have it too. So unless you tell it, don't bullshit me. Give it to me straight. Don't try to massage my ego. Don't try to give me answers you think would make me happy. Give me accurate answers. It's going to give you things that fit the expectations it thinks that you want. So Um, if you're using it, and we've all heard about the AI making up like legal cases, like
Yeah,
lawyers who think that they can use AI to file a response, and then it quotes, lawsuits that or cases that never happened. And I can say for a fact that happened to me when I was doing a little research, and I looked at something and I went, and it was about an individual. I went, "Is this accurate?" And I said, "Are you sure about this?" And then it went, "Well, um, not really. I mean, it could be, but you know." And you're watching AI try to hedge its answer. It could be. I was trying to find an answer that would be most appropriate for what you were
exactly.
expecting. I go, did I tell you no bullshit? Or not? I didn't say no bullshit, but basically, it's like, I'm updating my memory for a proper parameter. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ! But it will. They call it hallucinate, right? It'll give you answers that it swears are accurate until you ask it, "Is this accurate?" And then it'll go, "Oh, no, it's not."
But see,
So,
that's just it. I mean, I give an example on the Whitman lawsuit. Was kind of interesting was in his emails he sent, which is 10-day takedown emails, is he left some of the AI prompts in them, and so we're knowing he's getting his 10-day takedowns via AI. But Frugal GM says something very interesting here. Frugal says, "I still wonder what Kenny said of damages were. A primary requirement. Ken did not list in the lawsuit what his damages were, and that's a critical. You are right. That is an absolute critical requirement of slander and libel case, because one of the things like my attorney told me, and she used Eric's lawsuit as an example, is that when a slander and libel lawsuit is filed, there's several elements. You have to say what exactly they said was false. You have to explain to the court how that statement was false, and you have to say how that statement has damaged you. So, as an example, if I say Eric is a pedo online, Eric sues me. Eric can say, "Look, my followers account has fell by 1,000 since Don said
right,
that," and that is saying what your damages are. Or you can say, "My neighbor went ahead and no longer wants anything to do with me because they said, oh, I read online about what you are, Don." Well, that's damaging to you because you no longer have a neighbor being a friend to you and cited it. So this is some of the things that are really, really technical about, and this is what my attorney told me was so technical about. That's why a lot of attorneys don't handle slander and libel lawsuits, because they're so complicated, they're so technical. If you miss one element, it's a reason to have your case dismissed.
right, and it goes for both sides. I mean,
Exactly.
when I had my prior lawsuit, which was, by the way, also dismissed, that one just
Yes, in all fairness, that was the Steno versus or TSR Hobbies versus Steno lawsuit.
right. In that one, trying to find a law firm that would defend slander and libel, also in a federal jurisdiction in that case, was not easy. I found an amazing law firm. I was blessed, but yeah, no, it's a specialty, and you're not going to get the Joe Schmo lawyer down the block who handles wills and real estate
Yeah.
sales. He or she is not going to be the one that you want handling your case.
Yeah,
So
and the thing is what's interesting here is that my attorney, her firm handles federal lawsuits. They handle civil. They handle libel and slander and trademark. They handle all that nauseating BS. And the thing is you really need to understand. The little adage, "I can sue anybody for anything." by all means, Eric could really go back to that judge then and say, "Hey, judge, since you dismissed this, I want damages." That's if Kentucky is a slap Saul suit. I don't know if they are. And this is the other thing: is Kentucky a slap lawsuit? I didn't check that, because if you are, if it is, then really, then once your case is dismissed in Kentucky, you risk that the defendant can go to the court and say, "Hey, I want damages."
Yeah. Actually, it enacted an anti-slap on April 20th, 2022.
Bingo, there you go. So the thing is now, can Eric from 10 Cars Tavern go to the judge and go, "I want damages"? Absolutely, he can.
I don't know if there are mandatory fees. I can ask for my attorney fees. That was myself.
Mm-hmm.
Court costs. That was mostly mailings and litigation expenses. There are no. Does not look like there's any penalties involved beyond.
Okay,
Uh,
so basically, Kentucky slap laws basically are attorney fees and whatever.
right, and honestly, if the judge had said, "Oh well, all right, yeah, you know what, we'll I think this is the right venue. I find that yeah, whatever for whatever reason, yeah, we'll take it." Well, then my next step would have been to uh, file under their slap law, which again is pretty defendant friendly.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I mean, I'm 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 glad it's over. I'm glad it's done with. I didn't necessarily appreciate what was inferred in certain communications I received, but that's okay. I don't
yeah.
have to like
I
it. I don't
mean,
have,
yeah,
but the reality is, um, it's not. There's no refund. There's no second bite at the apple in Kentucky.
yeah,
That's what it comes down to. That Kentucky has said that in a way, this is probably for the best for me. Kentucky has said, yeah, we don't have jurisdiction over this.
yeah.
So,
Well, once Kentucky says they got no jurisdiction, he can file a million lawsuits. It's going to end up the same thing because
it's going to be,
you
it's
have
not even,
exactly.
yeah, it's not going to go anywhere. Listen, honestly, I wish Mr. Whitman the best in all his endeavors. Um, go with God. Go with God.
Yeah. Shellback Bow says leaving bad reviews. Actually, this is actually something that's very firmly protected even by the First Amendment under to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has even many, many times protected bad reviews. So I can go on Shellback Bow's game as an example online and say, I think his game sucks. I think it's horrible. I think the creator needs to get out of game design. That may piss off Shellback Bow, but guess what? Even all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court,
Yeah, but
multiple times it's protected speech.
that's Japan he's talking about. Shellback's out in Japan.
Oh, never mind. If you're talking
Yeah.
about Japan, never
Yeah,
mind.
he
So
said that in
basically,
the
doing
prior
bad
line.
reviews is
Yeah.
liable in Japan. Damn. That's all I gotta say.
Anything negative is liable. Leaving bad
Um,
reviews can be liable. Yeah.
just think the shadow says I get a kick out of all the shyster lawyers getting busted for using AI. Yeah, I know. Isn't that just freaking funny? I read on Facebook and on YouTube all the time. These guys using AI and the judge busts them. I tell you, there was a Detroit, Michigan lawyer that was caught using it in a divorce case. He
Ooh.
was disbarred.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was disbarred and fined like $100,000 by the Michigan judges panel, whatever the hell it is, they handle lawyers. Yeah, he got hammered pretty heavily because it cost his
Ouch.
client a lot of money.
Okay. He wasn't representing himself like some other lawyer I know of. Okay.
Exactly. Frugo says also serving as AI generated 10-day notice via email sketch. Well, that's the thing. I mean, when you use AI, and I get a lot of people, and Ken is very pro AI. I get it, but it's amazing what happens when you say, "Can you go ahead and you can? What is my case in AI?" Then you go to a lawyer and say, "What is my defense in AI?" And a real lawyer, dress up a defense to file in Kentucky for you. It's amazing how it differs and how quick a judge will dismiss your case that way. So, Eric, you got your case dismissed. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure. I always like to help. You know that? It's
I know.
amazing when you got a cousin who's an attorney who can write up something real quick. But there's nothing illegal about it, and people can get mad all they want. But that's another thing. When you sue somebody, be careful you don't know people with attorneys who are cousins. You know,
Kind of like
says
my cousin,
Kentucky.
kind of like my cousin Vinny.
Yeah, Frugal says Kentucky does not have to slap statute, but they're signed off for something very similar. Yeah, Eric just mentioned that it's very loose. It handles only attorney fees. Kezla Baker says, "Dang, I missed the background for one on here, but I always appreciate slandering clankers." Exactly. Shellback Boss, I'm surprised Kentuckians are sober enough to be able to sue people. Well, evidently they are. It's insane that you cannot leave bad reviews in Japan. Yeah, Japan's really weird, though. I mean, I noticed that about Japan. Japan's really weird in a lot of things that they do. Like Korea. There's a vlogger in Korea now who is a U.S. vlogger, and his name is Johnny something. Johnny
Oh, Johnny
Smalls.
Somali. Oh my
Smalley.
God, he's an
And
ass.
he was arrested in Korea for giving content that in the United States would be protected under the free speech, but in Korea, which is a no bueno. And I just watched a video the other day about him. I guess his sentencing is coming up April 15th, and it's not looking good.
Yeah.
Well, part of the reason for that is in Asian countries, saving face is a huge thing, and negative reviews are considered as, hurting someone's public opinion. So yeah, they'll throw you in jail for that, regardless of what you just said is true or not.
Yeah, exactly.
But Johnny Somali stuff, I mean, he hit the harassment that he does would not fly necessarily in the United States.
Well, in the United States, the stuff that he does would get his ass whipped on the street.
Right,
Mhm.
right, and
Flat off.
right, and but and would somebody actually go ahead and file criminal charges? He'd probably get slapped on the wrist with most
Yeah.
states' judicial system.
Well,
But
probably happening in Jolly Somali in the United States, and no joke, is probably some wife's husband would walk up and kick the shit out of his ass, his little scrawny freaking ass on the street.
now I think
Or
I think that happened to him at one point in one of
yep,
videos.
it did. Or even worse yet, probably the Second Amendment would be whipped out on his ass. Depending on, I know in Michigan, the Second Amendment would be whipped out on his ass. But basically, Frugal says, I know if KW goes, it wouldn't go so well because to slap laws. I mean, I'm sorry. If your judge in your home state says you don't have a case, regardless of how, you don't have a case. Johnny Smiley is going to be growing cabbage for. Oh, absolutely. He is facing it. He is facing a maximum of 15 years. And there's video of him on video going, the judge can suck my, you know what? Judge ain't going to do nothing to me. Fuck that judge. Fuck you, judge, and all this other shit. I'm thinking to myself, yep, the judge is going to get shown that in sentencing. Yep, you're going to go away for a long time.
Yep.
Especially in Korea.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, Death Angel Shadow, April 15th, we'll come back to this comment, okay? I want to see how well your comment has grown. I think your comment is going to go as good as cabbages in a good year. But Jolly Smalley is an interesting case because Jolly Smalley's known he claimed First Amendment. And in Korea, I watched a video where his argument was defeated instantly and said, we have no First Amendment in Korea. Not like America.
Yep.
So, you're right, Steve. It's big on saving face over there because there's like videos of him basically going in restaurants and just being a total piece of shit scumbag. And like I said, in America, he did that. He would get it. There'd be video of him being yanked out in the street and just his ass utterly handed to him. Yeah, what creators like that do is not protected under the First Amendment. And you're right. What he did warrants jail time. And the thing is, I traveled extensively as a young man all over the world, especially with my parents. And I remember one thing my mom and dad used to tell us is it doesn't matter if it's okay in the United States. It doesn't mean it's okay where we're going. And remember, U.S. laws do not protect you in foreign countries.
No.
You are 100% have to follow their laws. And Jolly Somali ran over to Korea for subs of all things. And he acted like a total buffoon, and he's actually having his ass handed to him. And I'm sorry, but I absolutely love every moment of it because he's one of those annoying fuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went up. He went up against. That's what it was. It was against an ex Korean Special Forces guy, and the guy basically did not decide to take his bullshit. And then the police saw after that event, they took him off of jail anyways. That was the hilarious part. He got your ass kicked and you went to jail.
Nice.
Shelbeck posted, I've watched here in Japan a guy get dragged out of a bar and then get his ass kicked in the street by two other guys. Yeah, exactly. Caleb Baker says, could beg for a TLDR of what lawsuit was attempted. Also, hell yeah, Second Amendment. Cabbage farming is punishment in Korea. I guess it is. And I think Johnny Smiley's going to, because I guess they're going after him for hard labor. They want to sentence him to hard labor. And I guess that's cabbage farming. Hey, you know what? He'll learn all about cabbage and how to make kimchi. That ought to be
there you go.
I mean, I think he's going to have a great, when he gets out, a good career making that shit. Death Angel Shadows, I sadly am not protected by Basing say. Yeah, exactly. Death Angel Shadows says, honestly, I don't know he'll be able to do cabbage farm because of one of the convictions. I don't know, but I'll tell you what, he is headed to Korean prison. Exactly. He is gone. That guy is freaking gone. I mean, what makes you think you can go to Korea, South Korea, and just think that you can go and act, just for notation, this guy goes to public places and he basically hovers above women because women are very uncomfortable there with men. And he hovers around going, does all this weird shit. And of course, he's got his guy filming it and they're laughing and everything. And she's in distress. The woman is in legitimate distress. She's scared. And I'm sorry that if I walked into a restaurant and seen some cocksucker doing that to one of my daughters, we would find out exactly how good that guy is, because I would drag that guy out as best as I can out to the front of the street, and I would freaking beat the shit out of that guy for doing it to my kid or my wife. And that's the problem, is that he relies upon their modesty and their ability. They're not wanting to get violent over there. Well, guess what? The police evidently are full of his shit. So, yes, kimchi is tasty. Exactly.
Tell you this much: if he tried to do that nonsense down in Texas, they'll just be hauling him away in a black bag. And I'm not talking garbage bag either.
Well, people like Johnny Smiley are very careful of where they go.
Yeah.
Well, obviously wasn't careful enough.
Well,
he thought basically the South Koreans were just a bunch of meek and mild people. He didn't realize that they had a very virile legal thing. Chris Lundgren, how you doing from California? Thanks for coming in. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna make any Cabbage Patch babies, unless gnats in the prison drain are considered something you get pregnant, as they say.
I don't know. It's a little iffy.
Johnny Smiley is, yep, exactly. He's just annoying. The guy does. This is the thing. I do not even understand how he got as many followers as he does. The guy has no legitimate content other than him being the most annoying, dumb shit. Now, I'll admit, I would subscribe if they did like a best of Jolly Smiley getting his ass kicked. Now, I would subscribe to that. They get a sub out of that for me. Trust me. Maybe it's something you don't. Maybe Jolly Smiley in prison can be a new thing. Someone smuggle a phone into him. So, we have Busing in here. I don't even know what the hell we're talking about. Busing in here. Don, I hear the Call of Cthulhu is the number one RPG in Japan. I do not know. I don't know.
I've heard similar.
What's that?
I've heard similar. Must be the tentacles.
Must be the tentacles. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. A lot of teenagers are brain dead. They follow them. Halfling Torchbearer, go look up Johnny Somali online, JOHNNY on YouTube, and you'll see his prison stuff going on now. His criminal charges are big on the news.
There's an American Korean decoy voice. Often it's like, there's more Johnny Somali. And by the way, Halfling Torchbearer is James Bond, just to throw that one out at you guys. So, Chris
Lundgren or Death Angel Shadows, I've heard that too about Call of Cthulhu. Yeah, it might be the tentacles. Eric, I think you're right.
It could be. Just saying.
Real quick, Kels Baker clarifies says Basing Say is from the show Avatar: The Last Airbender. I
Okay.
don't know
Oh,
what.
Ba Sing Se. Okay.
Yes, Basing Say. And there was a running
Uh,
gag in the show where this one poor cabbage merchant gets his cart smashed all the time. Oh, okay, now we get it now.
now I
Jolly Somali to the rescue for cabbage. Let's see if we're right. We're going to do a show on the 15th just to go ahead and do the Jolly Somali post sentencing. Is Jolly Somali right now having a good time or is he having a really bad time?
daytime. Well, we should be here the 16th, so that should work out.
Yeah, that'll work out. We'll do a follow up for you people closely following the Jolly Somali incident, and we'll go ahead and make sure that that's taken care of for you. Says my friend Tim lives in Japan. He says it's huge there. D&D hardly anyone plays. Must be the tentacles. That's all I gotta say. I think you're right. It's like some Andrew. Yeah, he's like an Andrew Tate type dude, but he's getting justice in there. Tate, I think, I don't know what the status of Tate's stuff in Romania is. I know he was charged with human trafficking and all this other stuff. I have no clue if that's anything that's
I
still
do
going
not
on.
know.
So other than that, guys, how you doing tonight?
Good.
Now we talked about Johnny Somali and lawsuits that are no longer going on.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well,
All right, so-
I will bring up this one thing because I know we mentioned this before, but Artemis is almost halfway back home and is due to splash down 5 p.m. California time, or not splash down, but at least be on reentry at 5 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. So if you guys want to follow that.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, the thing that really sucks for them though is halfway out their toilet quit. So it's been a really crappy.
Yeah, a little touch and go. It's a real shitty situation. They're all pissed off.
Yes.
Exactly.
Do you want any other dad jokes from me, folks, while we're at it? You know?
I can dad joke all day long.
What's real sad with me about Artemis is none of the media is really carrying it heavily.
Yeah, they're not saying much at all about it.
No.
I mean,
They're too busy with the Iran thing right now.
Yeah, this monumental of a thing happening. ABC News is just like a back thing way down. You got to scroll way down. They got a little thing about it. Just real sad.
There's no drama involved, so I mean, but
we're not allowed to say, we're not getting a chance to bash certain people we hate, so we're just not going to talk about it.
Right.
It's like,
okay. True. So I'm going to throw out some quick updates on my channel for folks.
Yes.
The Friday live streams have come to an end for now. Glenn is sick. I sometimes have trouble getting people lined up for it. And honestly, I got the open table starting next week. So
what is the open table, Eric?
The open table is where I'm going to be running a BX game in a small setting with people chosen from the viewers and members of this channel, the Minions. So every week it's going to be a different time, different day, and a different group of players, but the same setting. And what happened the previous week will affect the ongoing weeks. So yeah, I know it's like, oh, that sounds like it. I know what it sounds like, but we're going to be playing a little bit looser with the rules than.
No, is this public? Is this something you're?
Public, yeah. So it's going to be. I'll have 6 openings every week. The signups will be on my YouTube channel in the post section. And first 3 slots go out to Minions. There's 221 of them right now. People that support the channel, which is amazing. Next 2 slots go out to anybody, and that 6th slot is like DM's choice. Maybe somebody you see on screen now. It may be one of the master minions. I'll ask them, hey, listen, if you missed out, do you want to get in? But it's going to be at least 3 times a month. Again, my schedule, I had to free up some time, so I'm not going to be doing many of the Tuesday afternoon lives with Don, but I gotta balance the schedule out, so to speak. But one other thing I do need to mention, this is pretty cool. Since we hit 220 plus minions, Sundays is now ad free. So the short form video or the 4 or 5 minute tavern buyback, no ads, and the 2 live streams a week with Joe and Joe, no ads.
And Eric, are you going to do a show tomorrow? A closure show?
No, I don't think so. Probably not.
No closure.
No closure. Sorry, Rachie.
Okay.
But So and then we're going to, if we hit 230 minions, Gamers Health will go ad free,
Nice.
and then 250, I believe, the vlog of many things on my feed will go ad free,
Nice.
and 275 Tavern Chat on Wednesday nights will go ad free. So I'd rather be supported by the community than have to play with the worry about the AdSense, and then I can just curse my head off all the time anyway. It won't manage for the monetization. It's a scary thought.
Well, real quick, little update about Glenn Hallstrom. We
Yes,
haven't talked about him. Glenn had brain surgery um, a few days ago,
a week ago now. Yeah.
almost a week ago. Yep. And Glenn, I've talked to Glenn. I know Eric has talked to Glenn. Glenn's doing really well. His spirits are way up. He's going into some therapy to help him kind of get back on his feet totally. His spirits are real high. He talks about people following him all the time about how you hope everyone's okay in the OSR and such. So he'll be back. He will not be at WizardCon, but he might be at North Texas.
Yes.
I really find that hard to believe he'll make it to North Texas, but
Glenn is a force of nature, and he's a what's
yes,
that word they use? He's a stubborn son of a bitch.
yep, yes, he is. And Chris, do I think a space race RPG for tabletop? I don't think it'd be I don't think it'd be a bad game to make for RPG or for gaming. Yeah, I think anything is okay. But let me get some. Sorry for the misspelling. Oh, that's all right. We're very informal here. Eric, that sounds like how I think he's talking about your other. Yep,
Yeah.
your BX. Yep. I think you're getting a good idea there. I mean, just it's going to be public. It's going to be live streamed, right?
We're not live streaming any of this stuff.
Oh, okay.
We're just gaming, folks. We're just gaming.
Okay,
You
so
know,
this is going to be covered on your channel. It's not going to be.
right. We're not going to be streaming it. Maybe I'll do a video recap for the community every once in a while. It's where things are. But yeah, no, we're not. We're not.
What made you
streaming.
decide that, guy? But I got to ask you, what made you decide to keep it not like where like people can watch it and interact with it and such?
Because when I game, I don't want to have that pressure of, oh my god, there are eyes on us. So I want my players now. Listen, maybe in 6 months when I've got my routine down, and maybe there's a core group that goes, hey, we want to be seen. That's going to be fine. Also, my experience is if you are going to stream a game online, you see that little chat box that we have going on like over there. Somebody has to manage that.
Mhm.
And you can't manage it when you're running a game. You got to be
Yeah.
focused on the game. So I can't do two jobs at once. So I was like, yeah, we're not gonna record it, and I'm not gonna pick out the best pieces. None of that. We're just gonna game. We're gonna have fun. It's gonna be relaxing. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a lot of BX procedures. But yeah,
Good deal. Shubhite Pro says, what happened to cause his brain surgery? This is public knowledge. His wife has posted on it, so I'm going to say it, or I'd say it to say you got to get it from Glenn. Glenn had a brain tumor, and it was the size of a golf ball. So Glenn was having some issues. His wife quickly caught onto the issues while watching a movie with him. Of all things, this is so interesting to me. Glenn, I guess, is like a huge fan of the Ten Commandments. Like Glenn knows everything about the Ten Commandments. And I mean, like he knows directors, actors, you name it. Glenn knows the Ten Commandments.
Who was the best boy?
Exactly. And I guess his wife and him were watching Ten Commandments one evening. And Glenn was getting things, he was confused. He was getting things wrong. And his wife caught up on it and said, you're going to ER. The weird things that make our wives go, you're going to ER.
Yeah.
It was even more amazing to me. Glenn agreed and went to the ER. I mean,
Yep.
Glenn went to the ER willingly. So I guess his wife Becky has either monumental godlike forces over Glenn Hallstrom, or Glenn even caught himself something wrong. So glad he went to the ER. This is a good thing though, people.
Yep.
When your wife says to you, look, you're not acting right, something ain't right about you, even if you think you're acting right and everything's right about you, listen to the woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she saved Gunn's life. I really do. Because it could have really done some havoc on Glenn. But brain surgery was successful. They removed the tumor. He's doing well. He's up chatting. I've talked to him a couple times on the phone. He seems very, very, very cognizant. He's not confused. He is understanding what's going on. So very, very good news that the the old man Grognard is up and about and mean as ever. So that's a good thing. So you might want to put the link to Glenn's book here. And I will do that real quick.
I got the Amazon link in the private chat.
Thank
I
you
don't
very
have the
much.
Barnes and Noble, but that's the Amazon.
Let me copy it, and I will put it right down here. It is now in chat.
Poor Orc Child, we're going to use Roll20 for dice rolling map, but I don't use tokens. And we'll use Discord for voice and video. Because Roll20 is always a bit buggy with their voice and video.
Gotcha. Eric, what's your thoughts on a BX space-based RPG? How would that work through? What classes, adventure, etc.?
Well, we already have White Star out there. White Star is essentially a white box Star Wars influenced RPG. So just changing it more toward BX. I don't know. I mean, space race. I don't know. I mean, if you're talking about classic science fiction, great, but a space race, I don't know. Are we talking like The Expanse? I mean,
there's so many ways it can go.
Yeah, but I like space race, like U.S., Soviet, China space race. I don't think there's much excitement in an RPG like that. A board game, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know how you play that into an RPG.
Dead thing just says, why don't you just get a dice roller plugin for Discord, Tenkar?
Because I like the Fog of War for Roll20, and I'm a lifetime premium member of Roll20. I backed that Kickstarter over a decade ago, so I know the interface, but again, I don't use tokens. I use Fog of War, and I'll ping the screen, and it'll be fine. Yeah, I know. White Star has Star Wars influences. The hell you say? The hell. The hell, I tell you. The hell.
Thanks, Agile Monk. We appreciate it. So other than that, it's been kind of quiet this week.
Yeah, actually,
it just seems really, really quietly, strangely quiet, like calm before the storm.
Yeah, because of that, I've been able to get a whole bunch of writing done on Vessels of Power. I told Don this before the show that I've got another edit pass done on book 2. Book 1's pretty close. I could probably ship that in a couple weeks once I'm ready to go with this. But right now, I'm focusing primarily on getting book 2 completely lined up with book 1, so that there's no plot holes or other little icky, grossy things that, like, I've already had to fix a couple of those in book 2. And book 3 is like initial drafts, so that's going to be gross as all get out. So I still got to go in and work on that. Once I get 2 and 3 to a comfortable level where I can say, okay, 1 is safe to go, then I'll finish that up and ship that. And I think, when it does eventually come out, you guys are just going to love it, because I've had so much fun with this with this book, and especially with working with Clarence's voice in there, because he is just a riot. So
good. We'll have to post links to it when we go back live on this.
Mm-hmm.
Sebastian Fan says, BX Space Adventures not just playing Gamma World or Star Frontiers? I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff out there that's BX, kind of got that sci-fi flavor, I think. Dan Tesh says, Donald Logan, if I may ask, are there going to be game setups for WizardCon or just signups of con? At this point, we have been battling with that final page for signups to show the games, and we have been absolutely fighting it and are not getting nowhere. So at worst comes to worst, we'll sign us at the con. A lot of cons do that. We'll just make sure we have a good quality sign-up board there, and where people can go sign up if they wish. I'm sure that we'll have a bunch of people signing up for games as they come. But at this point, we're being only 2 weeks from the convention. Don't know. If we can get it up live beforehand, we will. If not, we're just, like I said, going to sign up to the convention. Go old school. Real old school for an OSR convention. How's that?
Oh boy.
So, but we have the games being submitted. This is the thing important, real quick. Think of it. If you're submitting games, we're still getting them. We're getting the games. So they'll be up on the sign up board at the convention so people can come in and sign up for them. But the big problem's been is that final page, that page where people can see the game and click on it and sign up for it has been a bear with us. So yeah. Agile Monk says, I have a lifetime Sage subscription to Word Anvil as I was one of the early supporters. Nice. Kesla Baker says, I don't understand a lot of what anyone is talking about. I'm a D&D 3.55e infant, but I'm just happy to be here. Well, no problem. Happy to have you here. Yeah, old school. You know what? It's an old school convention. We'll go old school signups. How's that if we have to? Yes, I mean, I think a lot of the old school sensibilities kind of cover over and fly over into modern gaming. I think you're finding that, Eric, with your channel.
I've actually have a couple of members, we call them minions at the tavern, that are 5e players that are taking a lot of the BX style procedures and slowly implementing them in their 5e games.
Yes.
And listen, I don't trash 5e. It's not for me. I think it's too heavy for what I like, but can you turn something like 5e into something that's more palatable for me? Sure, you could. But would you want to? No. I have BX. It's where it's my safe zone. I'm very comfortable there. But can you take some of the aspects of BX and put it into your 5e game? Certainly. You know,
they mix. They really do. That's the thing. They don't mix. The people think they don't mix. They do. Says Don, I have some folks in the UK looking for US publishing expertise. I'd be happy to help them. I grew up in the UK. I know the UK really well. Me and my wife has been to the UK. In fact, I got my wife's overseas cherry popped by taking her to the Caribbean and to the UK and also France. So country girl growing up in a cattle farm. You should have seen her in French customs trying to get through the metal detector. That was hilarious. They're yelling at my wife in French to move through, and she's confused, so she stopped. And they're yelling at her. In France, they have the French Foreign Legion patrols airports, and they have FAMASs. And these guys with rifles slung across their chest are screaming at her to move through the UK to the metal detector. And she got all amped up, worked up over that because she's not used to overseas. So, yep, I was the cause of that. I got to admit that. Dan Tesh as well, Agile Monk 3605. Your efforts are far more ambitious than mine. No one would ever give a crap about my homebrew world. That's get it published. It is now easy to do today. Very, very easy. So get through the comments here. I see what you're talking about, Eric. That if you have busy comments during a game, it'd be you wouldn't build a game.
Yeah,
you'd have to have somebody managing comments for you. Really struggle using Word Anvil and Obsidian, but I'm not IT. I think it's a learning curve, for some of that stuff out there. Chris Unger says, Eric, for your younger gamers out there in chat, explain what the OSR is all about and what is awesome about the people. Interesting question, Eric.
Well, I'll tell you what's awesome about the people is you can see them on the screen right now. For the most part, and every community has the exceptions. For the most part, OSR gamers are. There are some gatekeepers like, you play 5, you don't want anyone at my table, you're going to corrupt it, you're going to be thick and illy. But for the most part, OSR gamers like to show you how the games were played or how the rules used to be. The OSR games are more player skill. I think that's what it comes down to. It's more player skill and less character sheet skill.
Yes.
Okay, so old school games influenced computer games, which influenced MMOs, which then in turn influenced games like 3.5, 4, 5. So they kind of fed each other. I don't believe in bad wrong fun unless maybe it's 4E, but I digress. If you enjoy 5e, you enjoy 5e. It's a solid system. I'm not saying it isn't a solid system. It's just not a system made for my sensibilities.
Yes, exactly. Caleb says, imagine French TSA found us as wild. Oh yeah, back in 2000 and I believe we went there, and me and my wife went there in 2010. It was a while ago. I don't know if they still do it there, but
I think I got my witching hour.
Eric, I think you do. It's 9:00, and I think we're going to wrap it up here, people. Eric, thank you for coming on tonight. Steve,
You're very welcome.
thanks
for
for
having
coming
me.
on. Everybody in chat, thank you for coming on. We are going to be signing off. We'll be back next Wednesday, next Tuesday without Eric, I believe.
Yeah, I won't be here Tuesday, but I'll be here Thursday.
Yep. So everybody, have a good night. This is Don from Logging Mining Things signing off. Eric and Tom. Eric and Tom. So, guys, try to have a good night, okay? And we will be back next week, okay?
Okay.
All right, folks.